Hey there everyone, my name is John Eberhard, and between Google Ads consulting, doing my free Google Ad audits, and actual management of Google Ads accounts, I have worked with well over 100 businesses, and the last few people to reach out to me for help have actually been owners of residential and commercial garage door replacement and repair companies. And so I've done audits for these companies in the past. I actually have a few ongoing clients that I've had for a long time that fit into this industry of the garage door repair and replacement. So I figured what a better time to make a video on this topic than now, as it's fresh on the brain and I'm still seeing, a lot of the same mistakes and, wrongdoings and foundational setups, across the board in this industry still being prevalent. So I figured this would be a great time to make the video. So if you want to get your free Google Ads audit, please just go to the very first link in the description below. It's going to take you to the contact page on my website. Fill out my form. I will personally give you a call on the phone, learn a little bit more about your business, get access, and then I will generate a huge document that includes everything I find, all my suggestions and why, and then also schedule a time with you to get on a live call just like this, but it would be, Google Meets between you and I, where I can show you, all the hidden opportunities I uncovered, why, and how to implement those if you want to do it on your own. But anyways, without further ado, this is how to set up and run Google Ads the right way for any kind of, commercial, residential, garage door repair or replacement company. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So this is what the Google Ads dashboard looks like. Yours is going to look a little bit different than mine. You might not have anything here if you haven't ran ads before, because I'm doing some retargeting on my YouTube channel. So you're watching this video thus far, so you might see me in other places again, so lucky you. No, I'm just kidding. But if you can't get to here, go to ads.google.com and make sure that you're logged in with the email that you want to be, forever basically attached to your Google Ads account. And then just go through the steps to actually making a Google Ad account. Then you're going to get to this overview. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a campaign. So there are multiple different types of campaign, and I'm going to show you why that using a search campaign is going to be the best for you to at least start. But there's a couple ways to do that. You can click new campaign here. You can go into your list of campaigns and create new, or you can click here. Doesn't matter, all the same. But we're going to go ahead and make our first campaign. And so if you've never ran ads before, and your account's completely fresh, you're going to want to start with website traffic. You need to, let Google's algorithm kind of work and learn who your converters are before you switch to anything like maximize conversions or going for leads, which we'll talk about later. But let's say that you've ran ads before, or you've had an agency do it, or someone set it up, or you've done it, whatever, and you've had, at least, 30 to 50 overall real conversions tracked. Then you can go ahead and start with leads. But for anyone brand new, I always recommend starting with website traffic. So I'm going to go ahead and click on there. And now this is one of the most complicated things with Google Ads. It's actually setting up your conversion action. So whether you want, phone calls or a form fill out or call from ads, etc., you need to actually make those conversion actions so everything is tracked in your account correctly. And I cannot emphasize this enough. Please find someone to do this or have me do it for you if you work with me, whatever. But skimping out on this is going to ruin everything. I see so many accounts that I go into where people, or the accounts were mismanaged by someone who was neglecting it, or someone tried to do it themselves and they don't have the conversion action set up right. They have it where, hey, when someone, loads our contact page, that's a conversion. Or if someone clicks on the phone number button, that's a conversion. And that's going to skew all your data. It's going to be really hard to scale your account and really hard to profit from your Google Ads if you really don't know, your real numbers, your real cost per conversion. It's going to be hard to, trim fat in the account to, to sharpen that cost per conversion number if you have the incorrect data. So please make sure you're doing this correctly. But on my website, for my contact page, I can even just show you real quick. This is my contact page, where right here, when someone submits this form, that is what my conversion action is. And I have that set up on the back end here of Google Ads. So I'm just going to do my form, but typically, you're going to have either a form or call from ads or phone calls, or all three, most likely all three. So for now, let's just go ahead and continue. Go to search campaign. So again, the only other campaign that I would ever suggest that you use is a performance max campaign. But if you're going to be spending, less than $5,000 a month, especially to start, I would just start with a search campaign. I always recommend, you're going to want to basically become the master of a search campaign. You want your search campaign to be crushing it before you develop into a PMax campaign. It can help. I've seen performance max campaigns do really good for businesses like, garage door repair, but I would not start with it. So just keep that in mind, hone in on this. You want that really bottom of funnel, direct, high quality traffic before you expand horizontally and scale the account and grow it and retarget and, hit people in different placements, etc. With the performance max. So for now, let's start with search. This right here is your website. This is where, you're going to be reaching your goals, I guess. Google basically just wants this so they can recommend all their crappy keywords and ad copy for you. But basically, of course, you're going to want to put your website in there. The website I'm going to use in this example is one that I, took a little while to find. I always want to put really good websites in this video because I want you guys to see what a good website looks like. And this is what a great garage door website looks like. So I would make yours look something like this, or, you know, just of course, anything in general, but I just really love this website. So I'm going to use this one. I'm going to pretend to be these guys. Of course, I'm not actually going to go through with creating the full campaign, you know, and spending any money. That would not be allowed by Google. But just for example, I'm going to pretend like we're these guys. Your campaign name, this is all internal, so you can, you know, name that whatever you want. But since I run tons of accounts and tons of campaigns, I like to use some kind of naming structure that makes the most sense for me, so I can recognize, you know, very easily what's going on. So I'm going to make sure we put search campaign. Remember, we are going for clicks. So I'm gonna say clicks, and then I'm just gonna do all services. So the very first campaign we're gonna make, which I'll talk about soon, we're gonna, you know, have one ad group for each major search theme or service, but keep that in the back of mind for now. I'm gonna do EMMA just so I know this was the one I made. So let's go ahead and do that. Start new, of course. I have a bunch of drafts because I make a lot of videos like these, but you won't see that. Again, go to clicks. I know you're thinking, hey, John, but we want conversions. Yes, of course, and you still will get conversions. But switching to maximizing conversions is something to do once you have more than at least, you know, I would say 20 conversions a month at an absolute minimum is when you would want to switch to maximize conversions. So for now, we are going to stick with that click. Do not worry about a maximum cost per click bid yet. That's something that you would want to, you know, change in the future. But for now, let's move on to this. Okay, here you're going to want to uncheck both of these. You do not want to be on other Google partner websites like dogpile.co and stuff. And no, I'm not kidding. That is a real Google ad search partner website. Don't worry about it. And then you also don't want to be on display. You know, you don't want to have your ads on banners of websites or on the sides of websites or on YouTube. If you want to do that, we're going to do a performance max campaign. But for our search campaign, we want all of our budget going to the bottom of funnel, highest relevant searches possible. We do not want Google just spending our money to other placements. We want to really focus on that bottom of funnel high intent. So go ahead and go down, go to location options, click on presence right here. You want to be advertising to people who are in or are regularly in our the locations that we're going to select. We don't want people who are interested in coming to wherever for a party or a wedding or a vacation, but we want people who actually live here. So enter another location. You can type whatever you want in here, but I'm going to show you the best way that I use for all my accounts to make sure that we are targeting locations correctly. So you may be able to tell by the cactus, but I'm in Arizona. So this is always the example that I use, but I'm going to show you something. So let's say you're in Arizona. If you don't know a ton about Arizona, I'm just going to break it down for you real quick. This whole area right here is called the Valley. This is basically where everything in Arizona is going on. Phoenix, the big city, and then we have, you know, surrounding cities like Scottsdale, Glendale, Mesa, Gilbert, Chandler, Tempe right here, etc. But of course, you know, Phoenix is the main city. But for instance, you know, not every business is going to just travel around the whole valley because, for instance, going to the top or north part of Scottsdale, which is around Cave Creek, compared to somewhere like southwest of Phoenix over here, could be like an hour drive depending on the time of day, no problem. So again, you're going to want to choose, you know, your locations that you want to service very carefully, and this is up to your business. So I'm not going to pretend I know, you know, what that looks like for you. But I guess the reason why I want to show you this is because if you just type in Scottsdale and go for the easy mode, right? This is Old Town Scottsdale. And remember how far of a difference I told you this is? You know, that's a whole different area. So what I like to do is I like to choose, and I can even show you the exact same thing for Phoenix, because if you go to Phoenix, it's basically the same, right? Like look at how like New River or Anthem, and then south of Phoenix, completely like different worlds, okay? So if you don't, you know, unless you service everything, then great, that's easy for you. But if not, then what I like to do is I like to go to choose all areas. I like to hold control, or you can, you have to hold control. You zoom in and you can choose by zip code and neighborhood here. So like, let's say, you know, that your business is right here and you're like, hey, we want to go 20 miles within it. And you can do a radius, so you can put in your address, or if you want to kind of, you know, cherry pick, right? Because depending on what kind of business you have, and especially, you know, right now, obviously we're talking about garage door repair and replacement. You know, it's more of like a higher end service for the most part. So if you just chose all of Phoenix, there's going to be a lot of areas that are much more affluent than others. So you kind of want to pick those, you know, accordingly. So I'm going to leave that up to you, but I would do this, and I like to always just choose by zip code. And this is kind of, you know, of course you're going to have some mistakes. You're like, maybe you don't want all this, so you can mess with that as much as you want. But I like to go in here and like literally choose it by the neighborhood, by the zip code. And I want to be fully in control of the area that I choose. So for now, I'm just going to leave it at this, but of course do that as you will. Also, I like to exclude Mexico. You know, I'm very close to Mexico here in Arizona. Don't want any traffic going there. I also like to remove Canada. I do India, Pakistan, and China, just to remove any kind of spam. We don't want anyone, you know, wasting our ad spend by clicking on our ads and filling out our form, trying to sell us something or whatever, when we just don't even want them to be able to see our ads. We want to make sure all of our spend is going to our location. So I always just put those as exclusions, and I recommend that you do the same. So go ahead and click save. Go down here. Don't need to mess with anything here, of course, unless you are, advertising to Spanish speakers. That is up to you. No, we do not have any EU political ads. So for right here, what you can do, depending on what type of ads you are running, but again, right now we're talking about garage door installation, repair, etc. You can choose when you want your ads to show, especially if you're going to have a Performance Max campaign running at some point. I suggest that you always put some kind of time frame on the Performance Max, because I see a lot of people's ads spending past midnight and they get leads at 2 in the morning and they're usually junk. Go figure. But if you're only going for calls, then I would just, make your time slots here, or your ad schedule, times of the day that people can be actively answering the phone, so no calls are missed. If someone calls you after you guys are closed and you call them back in the morning, there's a chance that they already got what they needed because they were just calling around looking for someone that can help them. So I'm gonna leave that up to you, but here's how you would adjust that ad schedule. Again, it can vary by the campaign. Nothing you need to do here, and let's just go forward. So now, Google Ads is going to want us to use their beautiful, wonderful AI Max tools, which is like, yes, let's have them decide where we put people on our website. Let's have them make our ads. Let's have them do whatever. We are not going to do that. Never do that. We're going to click skip on this. We don't want them making our own stuff. We are going to make everything on our own. So yeah, look at all these. Wow, they just gave us like 40 keyword recommendations, and they are all broad match. Anyways, let's just skip that for now. So what's happening right here, and I know obviously I run Google Ads a lot, so I just see this stuff a lot. I think it's funny is Google's always trying to take over and give you not very great recommendations, but that's okay. That's why I'm here to help you guys. But what's happening now is we have done all the major campaign settings, and now Google Ads is taking us right into our first ad group and our first ad, so we can get things going. Okay, so you have a campaign which has your locations, it has your budget, it has your bidding strategy, what you're optimizing for, which is like clicks or leads or whatever, budget, locations, like I just said. And then under every campaign is going to come down, you have ad groups, right? These are also known as ad sets and like Facebook ads. But basically you have different ad sets, and then in each of those ad sets you have your actual ads. And so your ad sets are where your keywords are. So when one of the keywords inside your ad sets are triggered, that's when one of the following ads that you have attached gets triggered, and that's how someone sees it. So I know it can kind of be complicated, but it'll make sense as we go. And here's the way that I always like to suggest setting up ads. So actually, if I can click Control Z, okay, perfect. If I go ahead and click Control Z, we can see here that Google just recommended that we just put a ton of broad match keywords in here. So I'm going to tell you why that I don't want to do this, but I just want to show you how many they gave us. But first, I'm going to talk about the different types of keywords that there are. So there are broad match, there are phrase match, and there are exact match keywords. So what that means is, let's say that you put Coastline Garage Doors, which is the name of the company that we're using here for an example, so this would make this a branded search term is what that's called in the industry. So if I made this an exact match, which would look like this, that means that this keyword will only get triggered and our ads will only show for this keyword if someone types in exactly Coastline Garage Doors, give or take this plural here. So if someone typed in Coastline Garage Door, this would still come up as the closest variant. That's about as far as exact match stretches. It's very, very exact, okay? So keep that in mind. And then for a phrase match, if we did this as a phrase match, that's what this looks like. If someone typed up on Google and they said Coastline Garage Doors near me, this keyword would also get triggered and our ad would show, because the phrase Coastline Garage Doors is in the keyword. So if someone was like, where do I find Coastline Garage Doors near me, then that would still get triggered because this phrase was a part of their search, okay? And then a broad match looks like this, and it basically takes every single word of this very literally. So if someone typed in anything on Google basically related to doors or related to garage or related to coastline, then your ads are going to pop up. So unless you have a very robust negative keyword list, or you're watching your search terms every single day for a while, then I'll be very careful with that, because what's going to happen is you're going to get a lot of DIYers, a lot of window shoppers, a lot of how-to guys. You're going to be getting, people could be looking up things about a coastline and your ads could come up, or they could even be looking up garage floor like epoxy or concrete, and your ads risk showing up. So you got to be very careful. That's why Google is always going to be recommending, their broad match keywords, and they're developing this stuff like AI Max is because they want more control and more leverage, and they just basically want to make sure that your budget spends. So be very careful. I personally really don't use hardly any broad match keywords unless my client is in an industry where the the keywords are extremely expensive, and we need to find more alternatives. Instead of just optimizing for these, because right, if you just did garage door repair as an exact, like that's going to be a very expensive keyword. So keywords typically get cheaper the more unique and the more long tail, right? Like garage door installation Orange County would be a lot cheaper of a keyword compared to just like something like this, like, or garage door installation. Garage door installation is going to be more expensive. There's going to be more volume. That's just kind of how it goes. But I honestly love phrase match keywords because they're kind of all encompassing, but they're encompassing with a good direction. So if we just did, like garage door installation and we made that a phrase match keyword, then it's going to pick up on everything that we want that's related. Like where, like Orange County, what's the best garage door installation company, or garage door installation companies near me, blah, blah, blah. It's like all encompassing, but we've put in our 2 cents of, hey, we want it to have this in there. So we're giving it good guidance. So we're only setting ourselves up for, other searches that are like hyper relevant. We're also not screwing ourselves by making it super expensive by using only exact match. And then we're not opening everything too wide for broad. So I know this might not make a lot of sense right now, but that's the best example I can give for now. And if this is your first time ever doing Google Ads, this is going to be confusing for you. That's just, how it goes when you learn something new, but that is the best explanation that I can give. So notice here how they have garage door repair, garage door near, new garage door service, garage door repair, residential, installation, etc. And then they even have, coastline, coast garage doors. And then they have one down here, I believe. Oh, garage doors and more. Yeah. So they put in a competitor keyword in here. And then they also put in 2 branded search, and they put in, again, like the repair, the installation, the service, whatever. Here's how I set up ad groups, and here's how I recommend that you set them up. So I like to use a strategy that's called STAGS, which is STAGS. It's not going to be an actual keyword, I'm just writing it here, but that stands for single theme ad group. So I use one ad group per service, I should say, or everything different, right? So for example, for this kind of company, you're going to want an ad group that has keywords and ads related to, for example, ad group 1 could be residential garage door installation. The next ad group could be residential garage door servicing. The next one could be repair. And then, if you want to have an ad group for a branded searches, like people who are looking up coastline, if you have other competitors bidding on that keyword, which you could very easily find out by just Googling it and see if any other businesses come up, etc. And let's see what else they have. Okay, they also have commercial garage door installation, and then they have 24 garage door repair, garage door repair, garage door opener repair, panel repair, etc. So right now you're looking at probably like 7 to 8 ad groups, and I know it's a lot of work. And this is where a lot of people check out. And then when I audit someone's account, I just see 500 keywords right here with 2 ads that are almost like irrelevant, right? Because if you're advertising specifically for, 24-hour garage door opener repair, but you have other keywords in here that are advertising for like installation or painting or vinyl or commercial, then when someone sees your ads, they're going to have a mixture of headlines because you're going to be advertising for every single service in your ads. So you want to be as congruent, and you want to give people exactly what they're looking for if you can. So in my experience, I have the most success, not only for that reason, but also it makes it a lot easier to actually horizontally and vertically scale your Google Ads campaign successfully, because when everything is separated by service or by feature, or like every main different thing that you do, it's very easy to see what's working and what's not, and then what's not making it work and why. And then when you go to increase your budgets, or if you want to give, test other stuff, when you have everything so separated, it just makes it so much easier to see more clearly what's really working and what's really not. So this is why I do this. So I'm not going to teach you guys how to actually find keywords and do your keyword research, because that's a topic for another video. But you can use the Google Ads Keyword Planner, which is one of your tools. If you go on the side, once you go back to the overview, I believe it's under Tools, and then it's called Keyword Planner. You can also use any like third-party SEO tool. Like I use Mangools. I'm sure you can use SEMrush or Ahrefs, etc. I'm sure they all have one as well, but I use Mangools, KW Finder. And basically what you do is in there, you go to your location. For this client, I believe he's in Orange County, Los Angeles area. If we go here, yeah, right. So Southern California for the most part, but more like around LA. And what you can do is you put in that location, and then you search for stuff like, hey, garage door services, garage door replacement, garage door repair, and you see what keywords come up with what search volume and what not. But just for this example, again, I told you how many ad groups you should have for this. You want to separate everything very hyper segmentation. Even if you have a couple ad groups that only have a few keywords, like for instance, I could not imagine garage door panel repair having more than just a few keywords that are going to make sense. Same thing with, garage door opener and spring repair, right? But again, it's going to help you so much by separating these. So if you go the extra mile and don't be lazy, and this is what I do for all my clients, it's extremely helpful. So we're going to make ad group number 1 together, but I'm kind of just going to make up keywords because I'm not going to do the research, but we're going to do residential garage door repair. So we're going to make one that's just going to say residential garage door repair. So remember, specifically, we want to do garage door repair. If you want to do installation or services or vinyl or painting, that's all going to be separate. Because right now we want to have all of our keywords and all of our ad copy related to the actual residential garage door repair. So ideally, you would have a separate landing page for this. But I will be honest, this guy's homepage is pretty good. We could bring people right here to this page, but which you still can. But I would honestly, man, it's tough. You know what? Honestly, looking at this page, most people, if they have a good homepage like that, their landing page isn't super great. But this is still really good. So you can, you would have these here as well for the conversion actions. This is tough. Honestly, I would split test it. You're never really going to know until you know. So I would try sending a portion of traffic here, as well as sending a portion of the traffic here once it loads. Sorry. Because what's going to happen when you send traffic here is you're also going to have likely a higher quality score on your keywords, which is part of the reason, or part of the, I guess, the how of your cost per click gets determined is by showing Google that, hey, the stuff we're advertising for, this page is all about it. Google goes, great, it's congruent, it's transparent, it makes sense. What people click on is what they're getting for the most part, right? So all the words in here that mention, residential garage doors, everything like that, all that goes into, when Google's AI scrapes your page and goes, okay, great, these guys are, they're advertising what they say they're advertising for. You get a small little bump by having higher quality keywords. So, or higher quality scored keywords. So keep that in mind. I would split test those, but for now, let's go back to these keywords here. So residential garage door repair. Let's do garage door repair as well. I know it's not residential, but let's just go ahead and add it in there. So this right here would cover a lot of it. And then of course, garage door repair, this is going to cover everything, when it comes to like people looking up like Orange County or whatever. But I always like to add a few in here. Let's just do garage door repair, type in a few areas. Let's do Orange County. Oops. And I'm going to do one right here. Garage door repair near me. And then again, this is going to help you see how much each of these cost, because when you do, your keyword research, you're going to get a ballpark of how much they cost, but it all depends on what kind of keywords you're getting to actually see how much they're going to cost. So I like to always start, with a good handful, and then you can always, there's going to be some that aren't getting spent. There's going to be some that are cheaper. There's going to be some that convert more than others or better than others. So you can always pause and move these around as you need to, but let's make sure that we've covered all this. And then I'm just going to type in, just in case, I want to make sure we get it all. I'm going to say residential garage door repair. No, wait, that one's good enough. Take a look. I know I'm doing this all on the fly. Usually I have this super mapped out. I have this in an Excel sheet and I look at all of the data, but of course I'm just kind of making this up for you. Let's do, because again, I'm thinking of all the ones to include, but they would be covered in these, which is why I like these. So honestly, for the sake of this, I'm just going to leave this. This should cover everything you need for, residential garage door repair. Everything around that, because if anyone types in anything else, I'm trying to think of what would slide through this, and I don't think anything would. So we're good on that. Let's move forward. Going with the final URL here. What you're going to want to do, of course, actually, now that I think about it, when you do your keyword research, it's going to help you a lot and see if I'm missing anything. But of course, since I'm not doing the research and I'm just looking at it as it is, I'm just thinking of like the most common terms. But I'm sure there are hundreds and hundreds of keywords you could look at that have little volume, ranging from little volume to more volume. So you would see once you actually do the research, what people are looking for. So okay, that kind of sets me more at ease, because I know this is a pretty big process. I'm doing it really quickly, but we will officially now move on. So when you are putting in your final URL, again, this is where people are going to land when they click on your ads. So again, I would split test between this page and this page for this guy and see which performs better. I think both could do really good for different reasons. But right here, this is your display path. This is nothing besides the fact that it's going to show right here, like an extra little, it's called display path, right? Like the end of the URL. This is really just for looks, but Google says that in the future, they want to use this as some way of targeting. So I'm just going to put garage door repair. Oops. So no big deal there. Let's just add that. And then what I like to do here, so now this is your ad copy, right? So these are your headlines. So you're seeing options right here. Typically you're gonna have 2 headlines per, I guess when someone triggers your ad, you're gonna show 2 headlines, right? So what I like to do is I always like to have I use like these, I call them like the ad copy pillars. So I like to include a combination of like your call to action, your location, your expertise, how long you've been in business, etc., stuff like that. And then as well as like any bonuses or features you may have as well, you know, obviously relating back to your keywords. So I'm not going to put our name in there. Locally owned and operated is a good one. Best price guaranteed is a good, your best price guaranteed sounds kind of weird. What happens right here is Google is searching your website. So again, I would always do that as well to find some of those good ones. We're not going to do emergency repair service, excuse me, because we're going to have a separate ad group for that. But what I will do is I will do garage door repair service. Call us today for details. That's a good one as well. So let's go ahead and see what else we can find on their website. Quality meets affordability. That's a good one. That might be taken. As you can see here, yeah, this is the one. Best price guaranteed is where Google grabbed that from. But this one might be a little long. Let's see where. Well, let's just do. Shoot. Oh gosh, dang it. Okay, hold on a second. Let's do quality meets affordability. That's a good one. Again, if stuff is too long, you're gonna have 4 descriptions you can also put down here as well. But let's just go ahead and see if we can find some more right here. Brush for installation, look on time and on budget is a good one. I'm not gonna go through all these, but I'm just gonna show you a bunch, right? So financing available is great. Don't put this in there for now because remember we wanna be super applicable to our ad groups. Let's say we can even put 80 plus 5-star reviews, put how long you've been in business. You know, like we obviously have one already that says, well, I don't even know where it says it. Oh yeah, locally owned and operated. You can say like, hey, you know, helping locals since 2005 or whatever, serving Los Angeles and Orange County area, professional and reliable is great. Decades and professionals, that's good. I'm seeing some spelling errors here, but that's okay. And then again, another place to go for this is going to be to actually go to the landing page. They're going to have a lot more specific. This is a good one. Your friendly neighborhood experts. Top tier residential garage door repair for what we're doing right here. Yeah, so you see what I mean? There's a ton you can do. And then of course, you know, you're going to want to include stuff like your call to action, maybe your pricing if you have any offers, little stuff like that. Like get a free quote, call us today, learn about our services. That might be more of a site link, but you get what I'm saying. So there's always a ton of options here. I like to, again, have a huge mixture and fill in, of course, all 15 headlines. And then per each ad group, I like to have at least 2 ads. So this gives you a chance to have just a ton of extra ad copy, really seeing what's working. You'd be surprised that some ads will, you know, get a higher click-through and a better conversion rates than others. It's just going to be purely based on your messaging. Also, if you're totally dry and you're like, hey, I really can't think of any, especially if I'm going to have 2 ads, that's 30 headlines. If you're like, hey, I can't think of any, go to ChatGPT, plug in, you know, your website URL, tell ChatGPT what kind of ad group you're making and why, and like exactly what kind of keywords there are. And then it'll give you some as well. Tell me you're like, hey, we want, you know, emotional, we want location based, we want expertise based, we want blah, 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 blah. And it'll give you a ton of them. So for now, I'm going to move forward. Same thing with descriptions. These descriptions aren't great. Residential garage door, you know, installation. Typically you want to have like the service, maybe some emotional or why, and then like a call to action. So I would do, let's see, right off the top of my head, I'm gonna see if this one could be a good one. But we're gonna have to probably shape this up. I'm just gonna give you one good example here. This is a little too long. Is leading garage door installation repair company. Expectations. Maybe call today, something like that along those lines. I know I'm thinking of this again right off the bat. Usually a lot more time and effort goes into this, but you know, stuff like this, like adding in your services, adding in call now, adding in, you know, open all day, etc. Mention the financing. Overall, your descriptions are going to be pretty good. If you're in the market, this is a good one right here. If it would fit, right? You'd have to mess with it. But if you're in the market for garage door installation, what I would do is if you're in the market for a garage door repair, there's no better choice. I see this, no better choice than us. Call today, right? Stuff like that. Those are going to be all good ones. I can't see too much here on the website. This is again where I just have to do some brainstorming, write some stuff out, etc. But off the top of my head, those are the ones that make the most sense for descriptions. This is a good one. This is a good one. Yeah, this is just like more of like a blog or an article, but okay, you guys get what I'm getting at. For images, you're always going to want to have images. If I go to garage door repair companies near me, let's go ahead and take a look at some local Google ads here, right? So this is an example of like where your images actually show up. And this is an example of, what these guys have for, okay, they got fast garage door repair, A1 garage door service, 24/7 garage door repair when you book with A1, your local garage experts, protect your home and value and safety. Don't wait, contact our certified garage techs now. That's a great one, right? Fantastic. Let's go ahead and see what else we find. But again, what I'm trying to get at is this is where that actual image will be. So again, U.S. garage door heroes, the local garage door companies across Arizona, delivering unmatched service for residential and commercial doors. Great. Again, ours is going to be specifically tailored just to the residential for now, because I typed in just garage door. They're giving me a little bit of both, which makes sense. Something I'm going to show you too is these are called call outs and these are called site links. So that's what we're going to go into next. That's why I want to pull that out. But again, you always want to have your business name and images. If you don't have your business name, like A1 Garage right here, if they didn't have it, instead of where it says A1 Garage, it would be the a1garage.com, and it's just like a URL. And if you don't have any, like your business logo, this would just be white. If you don't have any pictures, it looks pretty bad. Usually I can find someone who doesn't have that set up, but right now everyone looks to be doing pretty good, which is great. So always make sure you include all this stuff. And then all the stuff I mentioned coming up, you're really going to want to make sure you add all of it, because like, look at how much digital real estate that this guy is taking up right here. Not only, of course, do they have the calls, but look at all these site links. Like this right here, if you look at how long this is actually bigger than the ad placement itself. So taking up as much digital real estate as you can is going to help you a ton. And it's, you don't pay for the impression, you're not paying for the space, you pay for the click. So the more that you can show people and give people information, that is going to be phenomenal. Lastly, this isn't a part of the video, but I'm going to add this because I'm seeing them right now. Getting as many 5-star reviews as humanly possible is going to be infinitely helpful. So when people are looking around, they can see your review. So, in this day and age, there's so much digital marketing going on. People have gotten pretty smart. So get as many of those as you can. But next, your site links, again, like I just showed you, those are right here. So what I would do is I always like to, you're going to want to use site links with separate URLs. So target anything, but you always want your site links to be things that support your ads and give people a reason to click. So if we go ahead and look, like checking out, okay, service area is a good one. Check out our products, check out our galleries, see the work we've done, book your call now or book your free thing, learn about our financing options. Those are all going to be great site links to use. They're going to support your ads. So what you do is you click on them right here. You would just type it right here, like check out, check out our work. Boom, go to this guy's gallery, grab it, put it in here, and that's where you can do it. You can have a description if you want, etc. But again, that's where you're going to want to have a bunch of those. So again, some of the ones I gave you, were just, of course, you can always look at what other people have going on. But again, I would like to do service area, see if you're in our service area, get a free quote, learn about our financing options, book your appointment, look at check out the work we've done, etc. Those are all really good. The next thing too are these little call outs. Google has been changing and like modifying and testing how they do a bunch of stuff. So this is also what these site links look like. I'm sorry. This is also what these call outs look like right here. But also if you scroll down, the call outs are also, these are also what site links look like. And this is also what these call outs look like. So you can see they kind of look different across the board, but Google's just been trying a bunch of stuff. Either that or these are snippets. They always, like, again, the fact that these are site links and these are site links, like Google's always just testing new ways to display stuff. But long story short, these little quick one-liners are also really good. And those are going to be a mixture of if you have actual snippets, like structured snippets, or if you have call outs. So like little call outs for me, for instance, for my agency is going to be book your free intro call, stand out in Arizona, top Google Ads agency, partner with EMMA, boost your sales, right? Those little one-liners, and you can always see what other people are doing too. Like these guys have an offer right here, customer reviews, installation. These guys have a couple that were supplier, Phoenix, open 24 hours, right? Stuff like that. Those are all really good ones. I'm not going to save those for now. And then of course, adding your phone call. So I don't think I saw it right here. right away. But for instance, that phone call placement, it's called call from ads. That is right here. So someone on their phone, if they just see it right here in the search engine result page, they can actually just click this call right away. And that is a very easy conversion tracking thing to set up, and that's called call from ads. You do that by just adding your phone number here. And then that is everything. So what you would do is you would go to next, you would set your budget. Again, Google sets your budget at a daily level. So if you want to spend $1,000 a month, that's $33 a day, etc. I'm not going to go next because I'm going to close out of this, because that is basically, exactly me going through creating a campaign, creating our first ad group, and creating our first ad. Again, I know I didn't fill everything out. You're going to have to do some research on your own, depending on your area, your services, etc. But the biggest things that I'm going to highlight here before I end this video is you want to make sure that you have an ad group, and you really want to be using single theme ad groups for all of your search campaigns, right? Especially when you just start out and you have your first search campaign, you're going to want to put all your services and everything into their own ad groups. And it's really, really, really going to help you scale and really see what's working better, than what's not. And also, because when you have those single theme ad groups, now you can make ad copy that's related to just those keywords. You don't want to have commercial and garage door opener repair and 24-hour services coming up when someone is not looking for that. So you want to give people exactly what they're looking for. Again, the next thing I'm going to go to is if you have not set up Google Ads, you haven't ran Google Ads before, you're going to want to start with clicks and website traffic. And then once you have at least 20 a month, I would recommend having 1 conversion a day, which is 30 in a month. Then you can switch from clicks and website traffic to maximizing conversions, and then switching your campaign objective from clicks to actual leads. The next thing I'm going to touch on is please make sure that you don't skip this step or get lazy with it, but you need to find a way, whether you pay someone or whether you hire me to run your Google Ads, or if you have an agency running your Google Ads or gonna do your Google Ads, they will likely set up, and they should set up conversion tracking for you. So that's one thing that you do not want to skip out on. So for instance, this guy right here, when someone clicks on this button, right, like this, you don't want that to be a call. I've seen that happen so many times where people have like a mobile click to call, and it shows they got 174 calls. And I'll talk to the customer and they said they never got any. So you want to make it so I would use something like CallRail, so it will only, actually track that conversion when a real call is made, as well as you don't want to have the conversion here for this form to be when someone, clicks on the button. Because again, I can click it right here and that will come up as a 1 conversion, 2 conversion, 3 conversion, 4 conversion. It's going to mess up everything. But you want to make it so this form, when someone clicks this button and they fill out the form, this should reroute them to a coastlinegaragedoors.com/thank-you page. That's a thank you page. And that should be the only way that someone should be able to access that page, is when they fill out this form. So that's the best way to track your actual leads themselves, is when someone gets that to that thank you page form. And then again, when someone calls you from just the search engine result page, you can click, you can go into Google Ads and do the call from ads. And then the last 2 things I want to show you is I'm going to go discard. I'm not going to make this campaign. I'm hoping it lets me do it. Yes. No, it's not gonna, because right now I don't have an actual search campaign going. But basically, when you have your search campaign that's set up, you're going to go around over here and you're going to see keywords. I think it's literally right here. I've done Google Ads so many times, I think I know exactly where it is. But again, I'm not doing a search campaign, so there is no keywords. But it'd be right here, click on this, and then you're going to see a tab right here that says negative keywords. Make a negative keyword list right away. And I would immediately start by adding broad negative keywords of how much, cheap, free, DIY, how to, Home Depot, and then anything unrelated. I would do garage floor, cement, garage flooring, because those can overlap. You want to make those negatives right away so they have no possible chance of coming up. But if you are going to do, again, real quick, those garage floor or garage floor epoxy negative keywords, don't make those broad, because remember, you have the word garage in there, but you also have the word garage in your regular keywords. So you don't want those broads to ever overlap. That's would be called overlapping negative keywords. And it's potentially gonna, make it so your ads aren't showing sometimes when they should, because it picked that up. So if you're gonna do garage floor epoxy, garage floor concrete, garage floor whatever, make those phrase match or exact match. But everything else, like how to, cheap, free, DIY, Home Depot, where can I, whatever, make those all broad negatives, and that's gonna immediately nip some of those, searches that you don't want to see right away, right in the butt. So that's the biggest thing I have for you. And then right around here too is also, if you click on, it's gonna be called search terms. That's where you can see what people are searching when they clicked on your ads. So for the first 5 to 7 days, I would be checking on that once a day and creating any negatives or adding any keywords from stuff you see there. that's going to help you in the future. But again, if you just let it run, you come check in a month, there's a chance that you could have wasted 20-30% or more. More if you were using broad match keywords. Mostly it could be like 20 to 30% of your spend on stuff that's not going to be related, because you might see garage door painting, vinyl garage door, how can I do this, or what's the cheapest company for this, that, or a bunch of stuff like that. So I see that a lot where, over a 3-month period, I see a lot of fat in someone's account where I'm like, hey, if someone was on top of this and they made these keywords negative, you would have saved $1,000. So if someone's spending 15 grand a month, you might be able to just very easily look like, hey, here's $2,000 in wasted spend, just because like it just fell through the cracks and no one caught it. And then it just kept happening a little bit every once in a while in the future, especially when you have a business like this where, cost per click can be around $20. A few keywords that slip through can, very easily rack up a bill, ruin some of that daily spend, etc. So that is everything I have for you here today. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. If you are running Google Ads for yourself and you're like, Johnny, you are the best, you are obviously the master. One, I appreciate that. But if you go to the very first link in my description, that'll take you to my contact page where you can fill out my form. I would love to run your Google Ads for you and or give you a free Google Ad audit. So take advantage of that. I'll personally call you on the phone and schedule a time to chat with you and show you all the stuff I find, as well as send you a huge document and even record the call so you have all the information for yourself. You can pay someone else to do it. You can pay me to do it. You can do it yourself. I don't care, but I do free Google Ad audits. So again, thank you all for watching. And if you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next video.